So let's talk about the Sahel region. For all those who've been following this podcast, we've many a time spoken about the Sahel region in terms of what's going on in Burkina Faso, Niger, Mali, so on and so forth. And recently, late last month actually, they had a conference in solidarity with the people of Sahel. It took place in Niger. It was 3 days and people from different countries attended to show their support of this revolution we're witnessing. So it was pretty powerful, actually, quite historic as well. And there were many speeches given, speakers at this conference. And I actually wanted to show you one particular speech that stood out to me and get your take on it. It was by a particular sister and it was a powerful speech. Okay. So yeah, I'll show you all it. And you're going to see why I picked this one once you see it. But let me hit play.
C'est eux qui montent. Car ces terroristes qui sont en train de nous déranger aujourd'hui, ils n'ont pas poussé, ils ne sont pas tombés du ciel. Ils l'ont entretenu, maintenu pour nous rendre la vie impossible. Car ils sont sûrs qu'on a compris leur façon de faire. Maintenant, comment nous récoloniser? Il faut semer la terreur. Ce sont avec nos gens qu'on a recrutés, qu'on a formés. Nous avons des professeurs agrégés qui ne peuvent pas fabriquer une petite télécommande. Comment quelqu'un qui ne sait pas ni lire ni écrire son nom arrive à manœuvrer des armes, les arranger, faire des bombes. Tout ça là, c'est des choses que nous ont internées dans la tête. Arrêtons de les regarder comme regarder. C'est eux sur l'impérialisme, nous l'avons en interne. Nous avons l'impérialisme noir. Et c'est ça le sérieux problème. Ils sont dans nos assiettes. On dort ensemble avec eux. On mange ensemble avec eux. Ils ont créé les conditions pour nous maintenir. On a dit non. On a pris nos destins en main, nos responsabilités. C'est un chemin très difficile. Point de plus. Mais nous allons partir au prix de notre vie.
There you have it. Do you know what part I'm talking about that stood out?
Yeah, I might have an idea. It rang very familiar.
It rang very familiar.
Seeing those words, yeah. Black imperialists. Was that the
the area exactly. Now we have black imperialism. They're on our plates. They sleep next to us. They eat with us.
That sounds very familiar. True words. Very true words.
So, yeah, obviously it rings familiar in terms of the master's words, things he's told us about those amongst us who are not with us. So, I have the book right here. I may as well just read that
I was wondering
section.
why you had that book in your hand. It all made sense. It all came together nicely there. I was like, yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
So I just got to read this section and then I'm sure we'll both have much to say. Well, no, obviously. For those who don't know, I'm talking about the book, Are There Black Devils? So editor will get that to pop up. But a book released quite a while ago, but still rings true. So let me read a small section. It's in a few pages in the author's notes. So Baba says here, I've devoted my visit to this planet to the resurrection of the mentally dead, which I affectionately refer to as mummies. Never did I know that the evil one had done such a great job with these people, both mentally and physically, as to have them hate self and kind. My greatest dilemma and hindrance has been the black devil. Born amongst you and by you, married to you, socializing with you, praying in the same sacred house of worship as you, but secretly they have a spiritual pact with the devil, which makes it near impossible for them to totally surrender to the true word of God.
Deep. Very, very, very deep. Yeah. It rang true. And so when listening to our sister over in the Sahel region make that speech and make it clear that the biggest problem that they're facing right now is from their own, and I put that in quotation marks, is from their own, or people who look like them. Because imperialism, as she put it, now wears the face of our own people. And so yeah, Baba Yaanuwn obviously way back then, and it's not the only book he said that in. He was explaining, my biggest problem in trying to wake you up is you, is those amongst you. There are people amongst you. I think the deepest part of that for me, it's all deep, but the deepest part of that for me is that when he explains these people have a spiritual pact with the devil, which makes it near impossible for them to surrender to God's will or God's word or whatever it is. So that's what you see. This kind of stems on from the last, one we put out, Dimensional Shift, where we explained that this war is spiritual. And so there's some aspects of this battle, there's some aspects of this journey towards freedom of African people, which take longer to manifest in the physical, but it's already happened spiritually. This war is spiritual, and it's of a spiritual nature. And so what you'll find on your journey is you're going to run into many who you may, at the time, believe, and I use that word, this one right here is for us. This one right here is till the end. This one right here has got all of our backs. This one right here is, And that person, as it plays out, would be like, nah, they never were. Because spiritually, it's very difficult for them to surrender to the path. It's very difficult for them to surrender to the path. So they can be on that path for some time, maybe. Disguise themselves, maybe even partly at least want to be, I can get down with this. But the spiritual pact is made before they even arrived.
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking. It's deep to think about. It could be a decision they made before they even manifested on this physical realm. And, you would just never know.
You won't know.
Yeah.
Until you know.
Until you know at some point.
Until you know. And so you have to watch very carefully. Just because they look like us, just because they proclaim to be for us, just because for a while they behave as though they're for us, you got to let it play out.
Yeah, it reminds me of when Baba speaks of the faithful but not true,
right,
as well.
Right, exactly that. And if you look at the that book is Are There Black Devils, he explains in the author's note that he's here to wake us up, right? He's sent here to wake us up, essentially. When you look, and obviously refers to us affectionately as mummies, we're effectively the living dead. He came and he was like, goodness me.
My goodness.
The devil done a good job. These people they're dead. They're dead. It's going to take some time to wake them up. It takes us forward to the 24 Elders Scroll, the Master Secret. And if you look at the front of that book, obviously you have the picture, which some may have seen, many may have seen throughout a couple of different schools, of the beings laying dead on the ground, basically. And you have that center being, and that's who he's come to wake up. And in that scroll, he explains that one of the reasons he's allowed himself to be taken, or this has been allowed to happen for so long, as far as what's happened to him, is so that we would see who's who. And first time I read it, I was looking around like, I think I see Baba. I see.
No chance.
5 years later, I was like, I didn't see a thing. I did not see a thing. 5 years after that, I was like, the layers, and they unwrap and unveil, because over time, especially in what has been the physical absence of the being, the devils slowly show themselves. Those who have made their spiritual pacts before they've arrived slowly show themselves over time. Which is one of the classes we're going through, because it's a deep class. He always said you're not gonna believe who's on that ship, and you're not gonna believe who isn't. You're just not gonna believe it. You're not gonna believe who is heading on that path, and you're not gonna believe who isn't. And so he himself was shown the book of names, as they call it. And he was like, what? So-and-so's not here? Huh? He humself.
Yeah. And the amount of people as well. Often they say enough to fit in a Volkswagen.
Yeah, many are called.
Few are chosen.
There you go. So, it's a powerful speech from the sister over there. It is going to be the biggest battle. It was always explained our first battle is going to be with ourselves. What has been done, whether you look over there in the Sahel region, you look at imperialism, you look at religion, you look at war, they often have got an us to do their work for them. So there's so many occasions when you look throughout history where it's okay, eventually, now that we've mentally subdued them, not only that, we can turn them against themselves. And their main enemies will be themselves. As anybody wakes up amongst them, or if anyone is sent down to them, their main obstacle will be themselves, will be those amongst them who are just going to fight you to the death on whatever you're trying to bring, whatever salvation or freedom or mental elevation you're trying to bring upon them. They'll fight it. And it's effective. We've seen it.
It kind of, you know what just came to mind? Which song? It's one of your song lyrics.
Which one?
You go, fighting for and against my own has become the same thing.
Yeah. I'm a lyrical genius. No, I'm just start boasting right now. Yeah, fighting for and against my own.
I mean, if I can say,
yeah,
I may have bias, but I'm a fan. I'd be like, those lyrics be on point.
Yeah, lyricism. And then I guess gotta get back on the mic. But yeah, fighting for and against my own becomes the same thing, and it literally is that. If you decide to fight for your people, you will fight against them, and that is what it is. And this is why a lot of this journey is about vibration. It's why I made the point in dimensional shift that there are degrees which are of this. There are degrees of this which are about race, because we have to save our own. We have to acknowledge we come from Africa, etc., etc. But this is primarily about vibration. It's not about race in that sense, because you'll find people who you think are just like you, who are nothing like you, who are vibrating entirely differently. And that reality will show itself soon enough if you don't see it already. And so, yeah, it's not a surprise to see them over in the Sahel region. It's a good thing that they know who the main enemy is right now, because that's who's closest to them. They understand who wears the hat, because in the speech she said, yeah, they've been trained by the West. They've been nurtured by the West. They've been built to be the way they are by the West. So it's an understanding who the devil is, but also an understanding that because these people are with us, eating with us, sleeping with us, married to us, praying with us, etc., etc., they're the danger, because they're right there. They're right there. And at some point, they will switch, or
they're in our close quarters.
Exactly. Or show their true colours is probably a better description of that. So that's a powerful speech. Always when Baba Yaanuwn originally said that, you overstand it, but you don't overstand it. There's layers and there's levels to it, and you're watching carefully. You overstand that any time you send Nupu, Zupu will follow. You just have to understand that you might not always know what Zupu looks like. Don't presume, oh, no, it's the white man. Don't presume that, because they're black devils.
Yes, there are, in conclusion.
Yeah, of course there are. So, yeah, it's a powerful and pertinent point to make, and one that you see on your journey, any journey, wherever you are in life, you'll see that it's those closest to us who can cause the most damage at this point in time. And they may have been nurtured to be the way they are by the enemy, for lack of a better term, but the bottom line is that's who they are. And a lot of this is spiritual. They've decided who they are before they've come here. Not to say that they have no chance to change, because you'll still be offered a chance to change, for lack of a word, by the Most High, so to speak. You'll be offered that chance. I see the demons offered a chance. Many a suffering is taking place because the demons are offered a chance, but you're offered that chance, and you still have to choose. It's just that most of them choose whatever spiritual pact they made before they came here. So that's the reality that we deal with. But it's deep, but it has to be. You have to be aware of that. Whoever you are in this journey, whether you're one of the ones making speeches on the stage, or whether you're one of the foot soldiers, we all have our role to play. You have to understand that you could be walking right beside your ultimate enemy, who is right there like, yeah, let's do this. Let's go to war. But when that war starts and you're charging ahead, they just
behind you,
just slide that knife in. You're like, who got me? You have to look at who you're walking alongside. And so, yeah, we learn that lesson in different degrees, and some of the lessons are harsh, very harsh lessons, very harsh classes. But such is the physical realm.
Such it is. I've been seeing a conversation lately where some people were saying, not enough people talk about how a spiritual awakening is actually very traumatic. It's not like this path of exponential growth and bliss. It's actually to realize the truths you didn't know and witness so many around you not know the truth. It's a very lonely and traumatic path.
It's a lonely and
nothing
traumatic.
it's always levels to it. Nothing is what it seems at every level.
Exactly. So never think you're awake is the best way to be awake. Never look around like, I'm awake. I'm at that place, because you never know what new layer of reality is going to be revealed to you as you continue your journey, as you keep peeling off the plasters. But yeah, it can be traumatic. It can be lonely. It's a lonely path depending on where you are. It's not easy to realize what is actually happening on this planet. It's not easy. And a lot of people hide from it. I've seen many people learn just a piece of it and it's like, no.
Let me get back in the bed. That was enough for me.
Back to sleep.
Ignorance is bliss. Put me back to sleep.
Cypher. Just come like, no, this is too much. Because this planet is messed up in a lot of ways. What has happened over the last 6,000 plus years on the planet is messed up in a lot of ways. And some of the most messed up things have happened to those of the Negroid seed, or to the African people. So it can be difficult to accept that. So that reality triggers all types of responses. Some people go to sleep. Some people bury their head in the sand. Some people turn against themselves. Some people the self-hatred kicks in. They hate themselves. They think there must be a reason we've gone through this, and maybe it's because we're not adequate. There's so many different potential responses to the traumas of this planet. So it's difficult. It's difficult to wake up. And I would always say, just based on personal experience, when you think you're awake and you think you know some harsh realities, just understand you don't know anything at all. There's more to come. Because the realities are the realities, and they pile on. And so as long as you're on your journey, you're on your journey. But one of the most crucial things, as we mentioned, on your journey is to overstand. Because at first you need to develop that love for self. You do need to develop it, because it may have been stripped from you in this world, in the systems that we've been a part of. Once you've developed that love for self, overstand that the first enemy will be those who look like you, will be the self. Within and amongst us, you will have to fight that battle. And the test will be, can you maintain that love for self that you developed first, once you start fighting for and against your own people? Can you maintain that love? That's the difficult one, because you'll see some evils and you'll see some demonic behavior. But yeah, it's a traumatic one. It's a lonely path. But take it. Don't not take it. Take the path. Take the path. Because the end of the path is great.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
There will come a time when we will reach the ultimate reality. And you know what? To quote another lyric, well, that's Wretched's one actually, but address your soul. It's the flesh we shed. Yeah,
address your soul. It's the flesh we shed. We've got to release some of these.
It'll be worth it in the end for the salvation.
Yes.
Of our very souls and our very people.
Yes, very much so.